And we are live. Welcome. We have 19 people watching. That's great.
Oh, that's awesome.
Welcome to Dev Corner. My name's Dan. Today we have Ian with us. Yeah, let's just start off by giving some basic introductions. I'm Dan. I'm the Chief Product Officer at SQD. Today we're going to be talking about building a Eliza OS plugin. With me, I've got Ian, who's a solutions engineer on our SDK team. Ian, if you want to say a few words about yourself, go for it.
Yep, sure. As Dan mentioned, I'm solutions engineer, and I've recently been all over the AI agent space, trying to figure out what's the best way we can connect the two ends, the data and the agents. So yeah, I'm excited to join this conversation today to explore a little bit of that.
So thanks, Ian. So apparently we have 34 people watching us right now. So
Okay, that's
please
awesome.
feel free to post a comment in the chat. Let's find out who's watching. I'd love to get some stream interaction going today. But yeah, if you're a lurker, that's fine as well. So what are we talking about today? Basically, we're going to be talking about why we've built an Eliza OS plugin, some of the challenges we faced along the way, who we think it might be useful for. We wrote a blog post, which I'm sure a member of the team can post in the chat for me, which was published earlier this week, which talks you through using that plugin. And today we're going to talk about kind of some of the behind the scenes elements of why exactly we're doing it in some more detail and some of the challenges we faced. So yeah, let's get started. Yeah, the first question from everyone in the team and a lot of people externally is why are we doing this? And I think that we can give quite a simple explanation really. If you don't know who SQD is, if you don't know what we do, sort of the one-liner is that reading data from blockchains can be quite challenging. Blockchains are optimized to put data in for transactions. Everyone wants to quote TPS. Getting data out can be pretty difficult. You have to consume RPC, and that can be slow. It can be unreliable. And so SQD attempts to solve that problem. It ingests around 200 blockchains and puts them in a data lake. So we have all of this unstructured data in a data lake. And then we build an SDK, which allows you to consume that data and structure it how you'd like and do power a DApp or whatever it might be. And that's traditionally been our approach. So we've had a very much a tooling first approach. And what we're doing here is something that we're seeing more as a data first approach. So a lot of teams come along to us and they don't necessarily want to sit down and learn our SDK, or they don't have the time or the resources to do that. So what Ian's been working on, and we're going to see in this live stream today, is we're exploring this new data first approach, which allows people to we're just going to give people the data they want, right, Ian? That's the plan.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we've been building this Eliza plugin for the last, I want to say, a couple of weeks. And what this plugin does essentially is to basically connect the data lake that we have with the Eliza OS agents that people are building, and they can do that through our plugin. So minimal configuration. We're going to talk a little bit more in depth about that. But yeah, just plug and play, really, with the data.
Plug and play. I mean, that sounds fantastic, right? That's what we're all after.
Yeah.
So we'll come back to that through the stream. This notion of a tooling first approach versus a data first approach, and of course, they're not in competition. Like they both have value, but we think this data first approach is very powerful for certain customers. So I guess that takes us to our next kind of talking point. Who needs this data, right? Like, who are we talking about? And if you're involved in Web3 and even the world, you know that AI is exploding, and a part of that is AI agents. So one of the interesting questions we talk about internally is, will AI agents solve the UI UX problem, right? When I go to a website, when I go to any kind of thing, I don't really want to have to learn your UI. It's it's maybe not particularly well designed. I may be tired. Like, I don't want to have to learn your constraints. I just want to tell you what I want. And the fastest way to do that is natural language. And so an AI agent is perhaps, the user interface of the future. And I think that's why everyone is so excited about them. Web3 and AI seem to go together very well, because Web3 is all about autonomy and agency and being able to do things. Obviously, an AI agent is probably not going to get a bank account anytime soon, but it's definitely going to get a wallet. So we're seeing this paradigm shift and this narrative that AI agents are going to explode or are exploding. And we're building this major infra piece for Web3, and we want to put the two together, right? Like, it makes sense that we're building this infrastructure and it can serve this problem. So, um, yeah, we think AI agents need that data. And Ian has been very active in talking to AI agent teams and seeing that problem, seeing that they all need data, right, Ian?
Yeah, exactly. So as one thing that I'm really excited about, this agent space is like, I was mentioning to Dan earlier today that I love like crypto. I love investing to crypto stuff, but I really don't want to do like rebalancing every month. I don't want to like look at my positions. I just want something that I can like throw my expectations and throw my income and say, hey, do this for me. But that thing would need like a lot of data to make sure it makes the best decisions in my behalf. So that's something that I'm really passionate about right now, is like, how can we empower those agents to have all the data that they need to come to the conclusions that they need about, like in this example, my portfolio. But you can imagine, like, you can expand this example to all the other like blockchain use cases out there, because blockchain really it really good at is producing a lot of data. So we have like blockchains with faster block times nowadays that are producing a lot of data. So it will be like, it's really interesting to see how this agent teams will connect the agents with this like pile of data that we have right now in the blockchain space.
For sure. It is going to be, I think 2025 is going to be an interesting year to see how this moves
Yeah,
forward.
definitely.
Yeah. So that's why we're here. We want to move, as I said at the start, for anyone who's just joining the stream. I see we're up to 130 people viewing now. So if you missed what I said at the start, and again, feel free to make a comment in the chat. We're very much beginning to. We have all this data. We're solving kind of that problem, that read problem. And we're traditionally tooling first, and we'd like to explore more of a data first approach. And it's clear that AI agents need that. So where do we go from here then? Like, the conversations that we've had internally, how do we begin to even solve this problem? And if AI agents are our first kind of port of call, then AI agent frameworks are a logical place to begin. And Ian has been instrumental in picking Eliza to start off. So maybe, Ian, you can give us a sense of why you picked Eliza, and what it, what about it makes it unique.
Yeah. So, I mean, we have a bunch of different options out there in the moment to build AI agents, like from like more crypto friendly frameworks like Eliza. Eliza's not like exclusively for crypto, but it's like crypto friendly. We have like in the other spectrum, like LangChain, Crew AI, like this more Web2 oriented AI agent frameworks. And we picked Eliza, like I want to say, first of all, because of this crypto friendliness. So the AI agent developers are already building agents with Eliza that have some sort of on-chain activity. You can scroll through the list of plugins in Eliza repo, and you can see that you have like bunch of different wallet providers there. You have a bunch of different data providers as well. So I think it was the logical first step for us as a company to get our feet wet in this AI agent space, AI agent framework space, to build where we're welcome to build, like where we feel comfortable, where it's it's the I want to say the house of crypto for AI agents. So it just makes a lot of sense to start from Eliza, but we have again a bunch of other frameworks which are crypto friendly, such as Game from Virtuos and a few others as well. But I feel like Eliza was a great first step for us to start playing around in this space.
And I think one of the keys that you've spoken about is that it's a low code framework, right? It's allowing people to plug things together, and with our data first approach, we're very much looking for that feel, right? So that naturally brings us to what we've been building. So I want to stress to anyone watching that this is just us exploring, and this is certainly not finished. We have a lot more that we want to do here, and this is very much a prototype. But yeah, we're excited to share what we've been doing and some of the possibilities, and we hope that people can reach out to us and we can form more connections to understand what the market really wants, what it really needs, and what we can uniquely offer. So what have we built then? We've essentially built two things. The first we're going to talk about is what we're calling pipelines, and the second we'll talk about the plugin specifically. So what are pipelines? They should be relatively self-explanatory. They're something that's going to pipe data to you, and you're not going to necessarily have to worry so much about how that's constructed. So in this specific case, it's a library. You can embed it. It's stateless, and it's going to pull this unstructured data from the data lake and decode it. If you're not technically minded, what does that actually mean? It just means giving you data in a fashion, in a shape that is much more useful and consumable. So what we've done, we've built some early versions of these pipelines, which Ian's going to show you in a moment. And here it is. Here's Ian and his text editor.
Can you guys see it?
Yeah.
Well, should I increase a little bit the font size maybe?
Yeah, you definitely can. Yeah, that would be a good idea.
Okay. Let me focus.
While Ian does that,
does it look good?
Yeah, that looks good. That looks great.
Okay. So yeah, go ahead then.
No, I was just gonna. I'll let you take the stage, but I was just gonna say we've put together some basic. You can talk the audience through them, but we've put together some basic pipelines, which are very much a kind of a proof of concept. The engineering team, the SDK team has worked on this, and we're just grabbing ERC20 transfers and Uniswap swaps, and we're decoding those. And Ian can talk you through that now. But the key point is not necessarily the code here that we want you to follow. We're not. The whole point is this is going to be packaged up for you. We just wanted to show the audience what we've been working on.
Yeah, so as Dan mentioned, this is all built on top of the whole Eliza plugin is built on top of this concept of streams. And it's really interesting because with streams, you can like just request some kind of data that you want from our data lake, and you don't need to index all that data, right? So you don't need to worry about building this indexer thing. You don't need to like manage, you just need to request the data, which is really, really awesome to have. So we have this package, as Dan again mentioned, where we're basically connecting to our portal network, and we're asking for a stream of blocks that we're gonna decode in place here using pipes, just as a regular stream. You can like provide some transformation stream here, and then we can like further decode the data, and then all this data. This is from like one external package that we have, but this is gonna get called, this external package is gonna get called into our Eliza plugin, and we're gonna grab all the data that we need, and we just do like some minor transformation here just to like because what we have right now is like, as Dan said, we have ERC20 and Uniswap swap events. So in that package, we're doing the primary transformation, which is decode the raw blockchain data. And then we get that data inside our Eliza OS plugin, and we can like, if we want to, we can do like further transformation on top of that, just because it's like how pipes work. You can keep piping stuff together and do your transformation. So what the further transformation that we have in our Eliza OS plugin, just for the sake of user friendliness, we're adding the information about the ERC20 token, like the is it the symbol and the decimals, just because like this is something that you regularly want to know when you're dealing with ERC20 transfers, right? So yeah, this is basically how it works right now. It's all powered by this new thing that we're putting out in this alpha form, beta form in the Eliza OS plugin, but hopefully it will be available soon for everyone to test it out in our SDK. Oh, you're muted.
Apologies. I think that's a really key point to focus on that Ian's just raised there, this idea of formatting the data. Obviously, we mentioned at the start of the stream, we're getting this into natural language, right? So the way we store data is different for its use. So on the blockchain, we don't have the fact that it's got the symbol or it's got the decimal at the right place. We're making this human friendly. So even though it's a small transformation, it's an incredibly impactful transformation. So yeah, to just kind of zoom out a little bit there, just to talk through what Ian has been showing. We're grabbing the data from our data lake. We've got these initial versions of the pipelines, which allow us to transform and decode the data, as he said, and then we're going to jump into our Eliza OS plugin. Before we talk about that, let's just give two quick kind of primers, one on SQD in general, and then one on Eliza, so that the audience knows what we're talking about here. Again, if you've just joined the stream, welcome. We're talking about providing data for AI agents and providing it in a meaningful way. So SQD, as I mentioned at the start, is all about solving that read problem for blockchains and getting all the data in one place and making it so that it's cheap and scalable to grab it. And traditionally, you would do that with our SDK, and you'd have to understand our SDK and build something. And here we're trying to go data first. So that's what you're seeing here, wrapping up this data first approach with Eliza OS. And then Ian, if you want to just give a primer on Eliza OS and just talk about the core concepts in it, I think that would be great.
Yeah. We already mentioned that Eliza OS is an AI agent framework that you can really build AI agents with little to no code. If you want to, you can always like tweak your agent, build custom plugins like we did, but you don't necessarily need to. You can just like provide an AI agent with a file where you describe what the agent should do, what's the background of the agent, what are like the objectives of the agent maybe, and you can just like list a bunch of plugins here. Right now for this agent specifically, we only have our plugin, but you can like go through the list of all the plugins that you have here. Somewhere here, we have a list of bunch of plugins that you can just put in here and deploy your agent with all these capabilities without the need to like actually code. So I would say like Eliza OS is a no code or low code type of agent framework that it can become like code heavy if you want, but only if you want. And the interesting thing about Eliza is how this framework is composable. So you can, as we did, you can create a plugin and provide agents with different functionalities. And the way plugins are built is the framework itself provides like some basic interface, like you need to specify a few things, how the plugin would work. And I think the most important concept for the sake of our own plugin is this concept of providers and actions. So actions is just when you build a tool that gives the agent access to something that an LLM naturally doesn't have access to. So for example, we can give the agent ability to transact on chain by giving it a wallet, right? In our case, we built something that will allow agents to grab data from our data lake and give it back to the user. So this is actions. You doing stuff outside of like this LLM world. And you also have providers, which instead of doing actively something, it's always injecting more and more data into the agent's context. So agents can have this outside this data that was not like in their training set. So you can provide real live data to the agent. So we have actions and providers.
And I think that's a really simple and accessible paradigm to just understand the power of AI agents, right? Because, some sort of generative AI that's got, just this existing training data, well, if it can suddenly get extra data sources, to use the Eliza term, providers, then, if it can search the web, if it can search the blockchain, then, you saw that change when ChatGPT couldn't search the web, and now that it can, suddenly there's this leap. And then if you bolt on actions where it can actually go and do something for you, then you put the two together, and suddenly you're in a very exciting place. So yeah, that's the fundamentals of SQD and the fundamentals of Eliza. So yeah, why don't we go ahead and demo the our action and our provider that we've built out.
Sure. So yeah, just to give a little bit of context of what we're actually doing with our providers and our actions. So with our providers, we're injecting into the agent's context data about ERC20 transfers. So the user can specify a few parameters about the transfers. Let me find here. We have, you can specify these parameters here in the .env file of your agent, and you can say like, I want this, I want all the ERC20 transfer events from this block to this block, or you can like leave the block empty if you want to grab like all the blocks until the tip of the chain. And maybe you want to specify which from address, like who's sending that transaction that you're interested in, or maybe who's receiving it, with the from and to parameters. And also you can specify the contract address for a specific token. And the same thing goes for the Uniswap transfer, the Uniswap swap events. And so basically those are the providers. You can inject that data, and we have these interface here, like we can look at it. This is the kind of data that is being injected into the ERC20 and the Uniswap providers that we have that's being injected into the agent's context. And we also have our actions, which basically allows us to ask questions about the transfer and the swap event. So we can play around with it. I have it open right here. Our agent, let me just grab some like questions that I've already have in place. We have this usage file as well, so you can refer to while you're playing around with it. And also, if you want to play around with it, we would always love to get feedback from you guys. So yeah, would love to hear from you what you thought about the plugin. So we can start here by asking the agent. We put this agent together. That it's called Cryo. Just we named it after the CLI tool that I'm really big fan of it. So it's just basically an agent that's going to get your query, and it's going to get the data that you want from our data lake. So you can start with this prompt, asking the agent to grab the transactions from this token, and I believe this is USDT, I want to say. And you can specify the block range here. So it's going to do that. So let's just wait a couple of seconds and while it goes out and do all that kind of stuff. So what's going on behind the scenes here? We're feeding this. There we go. It's just going to dump a bunch of ERC20 transfers. Let me put this full screen. What's going on behind the scenes here? It's that the agent's going to get this prompt, and it's going to parse into a JSON format, so we can it can be usable in the code. So it's going to extract all the information that we need to fetch the ERC20 transfers. So it's going to get the token contract, the block ranges here, and it's going to feed into our data pipeline, so we can get that data out of our data lake. So yeah, you can see that we have a bunch of data here. And maybe this is like not the best way to get data. So maybe we can ask for the agent. This is also something else that we can that we have built in our plugin, is this ability to dump the data to a few file formats. So we can try to dump into JSON file, so we can actually read it, because I mean, thousands of events in a chat like this would be actually useful, right? You wouldn't be able to interpret it in any way. So the same thing's going on in behind the scenes. We're interpreting that data, and we can just come in here and don't say here, we can just give it a look how that data, yeah, it's just a JSON file with a bunch of transfer events here. So we can do that for JSON, CSV, and Parquet formats. So I mean, you choose the format that you're most comfortable with. And also, what we can do, so this is our actions, right? We can ask questions and we can get data back. But we also have the providers. So let's try to demo the providers here. So I can tell the agent, what do you know about the latest Uniswap swap events? Let's see. Agents can get kind of moody, just because like the way they're built. So sometimes the data is there in their context, but they don't exactly pick up that data to use. So in this case, we can see that the agent is aware of the Uniswap transfer events. I'm sorry, the Uniswap swap events that we have dumped into its context. This is the agent's context, actually. So this is what is going to the LLM, right? So we're going to dump a lot of data into this string here, and we're going to feed back to the LLM. The LLM will use that data to interpret our prompt. So in here we can see like it's aware of like we're talking about a WETH USDC pool. So let's try to ask some more specific stuff. So can you tell me which addresses are involved? I want to say accounts, because just to be more specific, which accounts are involved in those events. Let's say swap events to get a better chance to for the agent to respond in the right way. So yeah, this again is going to the LLM with all that data in the context. So you can see here that it's going to dump a lot of. It's just came out with 2 addresses. Let's see if, yeah, there we go. We have a sender here, and this is what is the agent's responding with. So yeah, it's using that data that's in the agent's context to create this this response. So yeah, basically that's it that we have built. So you can like chat with an agent about a given set of on-chain data, and you can also ask this agent using our plugin about you can ask data out of it, right?
I think that's an incredible demo, because it both demos how powerful this is and how much capability there is, and also clearly anyone watching this can easily imagine what they'd want next, right? What they'd want us to build next, which really takes us to I mean, we've been doing this for a few weeks now, and it really takes us to, as any project, the challenges that we faced along the way, and you can see there that data is, as we mentioned earlier in the live stream, that data has come from the data lake and has been decoded, is now structured, and we've done a little bit of transformation in place, but it's still fundamentally block based. It's not been transformed and aggregated to make it maybe, Ian mentioned that the agents can get a little moody at times, and if you give a human information that's maybe difficult to access, you don't always get the right answer. So as we've walked through this project, we're definitely, one of the challenges we're facing is figuring out how to give the agent the data in the right way. And obviously you see when you put that data into the context window, the more meaningfully it's been transformed and aggregated, probably the better and more accurate answers you're going to get. So that's definitely one of the challenges that we're facing. And to repeat the call to action we made earlier, we'd love to hear from customers and potential users of this who need blockchain data to understand the kind of data that they're looking at and looking for, so that when they write their prompts and they want an LLM to inspect some data, it can provide meaningful answers. But yeah, that's an open question. So one for us
Exactly.
to answer. I think. What's your instinct, Ian? On let's broaden the discussion here. What's your instinct on how we can improve this, and in terms of how we might aggregate the data more? Do you have any instincts on that?
Yeah. So as you mentioned, like you can think that in a way that agents have this limited context window. So and in this Eliza OS plugin specifically, the context here, we're dumping transfer informations or like events into the context, and this context is shared among all the other plugins that an agent might use. So if you using like a lot of different plugins, you might overwhelm the agent and overflow actually the context window, so the LLM wouldn't be able to interpret that that data correctly, or not at all. So as you mentioned, I think it's really interesting to start thinking about like aggregation and delivering only the meaningful pieces of the data to the AI agent, instead of like giving it a lot of data. So you can LLMs are not this like magic box where you can put thousands and thousands of events and expect something magical to come out of it. So like hey, do this and get I don't know, the best investment of your life, right? So you have to aggregate that data in a meaningful way in order to be able to interpret that data and generate some meaningful insights. And so I think the first step will be start figuring out what this meaningful data is for AI agents, and start to aggregate that data in a format that will be easily interpreted by the agents.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that brings us to the other part of the major work that we're doing here, which is pipelines, right? Like, how do we even get that data from the data lake in a way where the user doesn't have to really think about it, but they get the data that they want in the format, in the transformation that they want. And so obviously, to begin with, we've just created these two basic pipelines, ERC20 transfers and Uniswap swaps. But I think if you naturally think this through, as we have done as a team, you can imagine a marketplace of these pipelines where you can come along and you can just be a user, and you can say, well, look, is the data that I want there? And then can I install this thing and just consume the data? And maybe there's some more advanced users who want to build their own kind of pipelines by maybe mixing and matching, but in general, can we build something where there's some kind of marketplace? And I think that's definitely an area that we're going to explore and expand over time. But I think today is just demonstrating the capabilities of what this could do in the future, and what it can even do today, right? It's exciting just to watch what it's done there, and as a team, we're definitely excited about it. I guess while we're talking about challenges we've faced, there's obviously building this. There's obviously what exactly our customers need and how we iterate here. That obviously includes the pipelines and how we build them. But how have you found building this, Ian? I mean, just if there are any AI agent developers watching, any
Yeah.
Eliza developers watching, like, what's your experience of using Eliza and working in this environment been like?
So yeah, Eliza, it's really powerful, and it's really amazing that this framework came out of like nowhere to our attention, because it's been the team has been building it for, I want to say, the past 1 or 2 years. But it's really amazing that we have such a powerful framework, and it's open source. We can just like go and tweak the things. But it's going through a rapid development. So sometimes a few things here and there can break, and that's that's something that we have to deal with. But I mean, it's just great to have this thing, like it's net positive for sure. So it's great to have. So maybe some other challenges were to figure out that the context window that we already mentioned, right? So we have limited space, limited characters to input. So we have to make sure we're always inputting like the most meaningful characters there. This is something else. So I want to say that like these two. So the pace of development of Eliza is like really rapid. So it's hard to keep up with their pace. And the context window is always also something to be mindful about. I think these are the two things that we should highlight right now.
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely in a rapidly moving ecosystem.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the core part of the demo that we wanted to give today. And yeah, those are the challenges that we've kind of faced, and the ideas that it's given us in terms of where we want to go next. I guess that brings us to what is next. First thing we'd like to say is that we put a blog post out earlier in the week, which is a companion piece to this live stream. It's linked on our Twitter. It talks you through, if this is kind of the story behind our work, then the post is more about setting the plugin up and talking you through how to use it. We'd love everyone here to check that out if they're interested, and give us some feedback. And anyone who is an AI agent developer or an AI agent framework developer, please do reach out to us on Twitter or Telegram. We're very much interested to hear what you've got to say, and criticism, constructive, is welcome. Like we can't operate in a bubble. We need to understand who is consuming this, and we're directed obviously by the customer at all times. So yeah, I'd love to do some Q&A if there are any questions. So if there's anyone watching on YouTube or Twitter, I'm told that you can post a comment, and I should see it in the stream. My events team tells me that will pop up. But yeah, if anyone's got a comment, feel free to post it, and we'll see if we can take some questions. In the meantime, also would just like to say that the team, a few members of the team will be at ETH Denver. So use this opportunity to say that we'd love to meet as many AI agent developers and Web3 natives / degens as possible. So yeah, if you guys are out there, tweet us, let us know that you're there, and again, we'd love to talk about this stuff. But yeah, Ian, any final thoughts from your side about what we've been talking about today?
Actually, I'm just looking for feedback. I just want to chat with people in the space. So again, just like reinforcing that what Dan just said. If you're a agent developer in the space, or you're building a framework or whatever, we want to talk to you, because we want to realize what is the best way to consume that data, because we know that there's no standard way out there. We've been researching that, and we come across this is like pretty much an open question for the whole space. So we would love to chat and to just exchange ideas on how to consume like large amounts of data when it comes to AI agents.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So how can you guys reach us if you want to talk to us? We are Hello SQD on Twitter as a company. I'll also post my personal Twitter in the chat. Ian, feel free to post your personal Twitter in the chat as well. You can come to our website and find our, which is sqd.ai, and find our Telegram groups. So yeah, if you've got any thoughts on this, or you want to get involved, we're an open source project. Obviously, pull requests are always welcome, or issues if you just want to open an issue. Yeah, feel free to reach out to us on Twitter or Telegram, and we'd love to talk. So yeah, if there are no questions, I think this is a good place to end.
Yep.
So yeah, guys, apparently there's nearly 400 of you watching. This was our first dev corner today. Oh, we've got a question.
Oh, it's just me posting my. I think.
No,
Isn't
no,
it?
no,
Oh
no, no,
no.
no, 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 no.
Awesome.
It's not. We got a question. The audience has responded. Okay, are the agents constrained to use the SQD SDK APIs only? How can they ask more customized queries than Uniswap, ERC20 transfers, etc.? Great question. So you can go and build an Eliza OS agent that uses any provider, right? We're just, what we're doing here is illustrating one of the most common frameworks, and we're illustrating the power of what we've built, which is to gather all of the Web3 data in one place. So specifically to what happens when you want more than ERC20 transfers and Uniswap swaps. Again, as I mentioned at the start, we're just exploring this space. So previously, you can get anything you want from our data lake, right? Everything is there. We're ingesting over 200 blockchains, but previously, or you can still do this today, right? It's you can sit down and be an SDK developer. You can learn our SDK and write some code and transform that data into whatever you want and push it to a database and serve it on an API anywhere. What we're doing here is pioneering an approach where hopefully you can just install some kind of package which allows you to just stream the data you want, and it's essentially low code. It's just some configuration. So these are just the first pipelines we've built. These are just two examples, and we're going to build a lot more of them. And then over time, we imagine we'll build a marketplace where people can build and share their own. So what happens when you want more than that? You talk with us and you tell us, and we'll provide you with the way to get what you want, and we'll build that out over time. Ian, anything you want to add on that question?
Yeah, no, it's just like what we built here is the Eliza plugin. It works great for Eliza, but I mean, what's powering all of that is just the streams that we've been building, and that's not Eliza dependent. So you can plug the streams with whatever framework you want to build with. So I think that's the most valuable thing to add. Just you can just plug our SDK into whatever framework. We're just making easy right now for Eliza developers, but I mean, it's just up to you where you want to use it.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, did you manage to post your Twitter handle into the chat?
I posted on YouTube. I want to
Okay,
say.
maybe I've got some kind of eventual consistent. We're using StreamYard, by the way, to do this stream. So
Nice.
maybe I've got some eventual consistency things going on here. But yeah, if there are no other questions from the audience, yeah, this was our first Dev Corner. Just to maybe finish on this note, we're making a commitment as a team to release a lot more early, a lot more often. So instead of showing you the finished thing, which maybe doesn't work for you or maybe isn't what you particularly want, we're looking to stream and ship in a much more agile and iterative fashion. So obviously the trade-off is you're going to see things like this that aren't fully fleshed out and finished yet, but you get to comment and really direct us. You're the kind of the peer review, so that we decide where to go with all of that feedback. So yeah, this is our first Dev Corner. Ian is our first guest. He will forever live in infamy as our first guest. And yeah, I hope to stream regularly, so that I can show everyone what we're working on here, what we're doing, and hopefully we can get more and more interaction over time. So yeah, that was building an Eliza OS plugin. It's a proof of concept at the moment, and we'd love some feedback. But yeah, thank you for joining the stream today. Thanks to Ian for presenting his work.
Thank you.
And yeah, I'll say goodbye. Ian, if you'd like to say goodbye.
See ya.
See you later, guys. Take care. See you at Dev Corner 2 and in Denver. Bye.